Meeting to order. Griggs. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Take roll. John. Here. Dale. Here. Mark is absent. Sean is here. Troy is here. Okay. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda as submitted?
Congratulations.
Move to approve the agenda as presented. Been moved by Sean to approve the agenda as presented. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Take a look at the November 2nd meeting minutes. Any additions or corrections?
Move to approve the November 2nd minutes as presented, dispense with reading.
Been moved by Sean to approve the November 2nd board meeting and dispense with the reading. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Bills.
You have one that's just kind of added. That's part of the payroll bills that got paid. And I didn't get that sent out to you guys either, so just a normal payroll bill.
Okay. I didn't see anything when I went through these last night. Is there anything in there noteworthy?
I don't think so. The election workers are getting paid this time too.
Saw that.
You have Jerry clean the sidewalk uptown or something?
Right, yep, yep.
Move to approve the bills as presented.
Been moved by Sean to approve the bills as presented. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by John. Is there any discussion?
Dale.
Dale? Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Fred?
Exciting day.
Huh?
I said, this is an exciting day. About a year ago, I was on the combine and Troy called me and he said, you want the opportunity to go a lot of meetings and not be paid very much? And I said, that doesn't sound very appealing. And then I went home and my wife said, it's a good idea. You better do it.
Yes, dear.
Thank you, James.
So this is my third water meeting this week. So you were right.
Holy
I get to
cow.
go to a lot of meetings.
I was hoping that would ease up. It should someday, shouldn't it?
No. No, because the meeting I went to on Monday is the Barnes Griggs joint board for
Yep.
Silver Creek.
Yep.
As you probably know, that original thing got scuttled and we're trying to start a new deal. And so when you start something new, and then the other one, I'm on the Upper Cheyenne joint board. You know, they don't meet as often, but no, it's not going to get lighter. So you told the truth. I'm not mad at you. So do you all have? Oh, Tom Dahl, what a treat!
He doesn't hear that very often.
I didn't get to see him here. This is the third meeting he's been to this week too, so he knows.
We just got this now. I didn't have this last night in my packet.
Okay, as for introduction, turn to what says page 12. It's written.
The minutes we had. I read the minutes
Okay.
last night, but go ahead.
Well, page 12 is a map of the Pickerel Lake Creek watershed.
Oh, wrong page.
They're page 12.
Yes, yeah.
They're,
Third page.
Or
12.
page
going.
37.
Keep going.
37?
our page 37.
Okay.
So, and with me today is Scott Huso, who lives a mile away from me, and his land is right. He lives close to all this. So a year ago, Scott put together an effort to clean out Pickerel Lake Creek for about 3 miles. And Griggs County participated in that, Nelson County participated in that. And we're standing on the grade of one of these roads, and Ben Barnson from Nelson County says what we should do is Nelson County should do a stream crossing study and Griggs County can do a stream crossing study. You can submit 3 crossings to the state and they will do that at no charge. So we all agreed to do that. So the stream crossing study, if you're looking at that map, you'll see crossing number 1, which is 1 mile south of the county line. I live right next to that. Crossing number 2 is the county road, 1 mile south of that. Scott lives right next to that. Crossing number 3 is 2 miles further down. Darren Fugner lives right next to that. And after crossing 3, there's quite a bit of slope and the water runs to the river pretty easily. 1 mile south of crossing 3 is Highway 45.
It has to cross there too.
Yeah, it crosses there, but it's, I mean, there's slope and it's big there. So, as long as I've been around, which I met my wife and we got married in 1975, this crossing 2, my father-in-law was very upset with that crossing for years and years and years because it acted as a dam. And so in the stream crossing study, what the State Water Commission said, crossing 2 needs the capacity to handle 425 cubic feet per second. And when Tom saw that, he said, "You got to be kidding me." So that's like the Cheyenne River. And but the water has gone over that road several times, and it backs up 3 miles worth of roads. My in-laws live across the road a quarter of a mile away from me. They're 1.5 miles from Annetta. When this happens, they have to go to Cloton, Highway 15, 16 miles to get to Annetta. Everybody southwest of Annetta, when there's a big event, that's what happens because it crosses all these roads. So anyway, the stream crossing study said that crossing needs to meet the 25-year event, which is 425 cubic feet per second. So if you go to the very front page of your report, the letter from Wayne Dahl. So we asked them, we assigned them the task of telling us, okay, to meet this 425 feet per second requirement, what kind of culvert structure do you recommend? And the simple summary is, he says, 360 feet diameter concrete pipes with head walls, flared wing walls, or one 12 by 5 concrete box. There's a lot of water that moves through that. The current culverts that are there, there's one 4-foot and one 3-foot. 3-foot is rusting out. It's poorly designed, and there's problems with it. So there's less than half the capacity there of what this stream crossing study says it needs. So, and what we've been told by the State Water Commission, once you get this stream crossing study determined, then it's up to the governing authorities, be it county or township, to come up with a solution to meet this study, meet this requirement. So that's our job as the Water Commission. We had the stream crossing study done. We hired our engineers to determine what kind of structure should be built there. And we've been talking about this for months, and Dale keeps saying, where's the money going to come from? And maybe there's some state money involved. You guys know all that. I don't know. But
I thought you said when you started that you could get state money.
we can't.
Oh, I thought that's what you meant.
No. At our last meeting, Tom and Dale were having a conversation about, the Danny Odegaard structure that you put in, the Everett Vegasaw, and Dale mentioned there was some state money from oil.
The oil money, the House and State or Senate bill money covered those. That doesn't sound like it's available for this sort of.
No,
Those
those,
structures were failing, that's why we did.
Yeah.
We didn't have a choice but to do something.
and we were actually doing the road, the Sutton Road too. It wouldn't have qualified other than the fact that we were
We
overlaying
were
the
putting all
road.
that, when we took the state money to put all that gravel on, they made us do a 25-year on that crossing.
Right,
And bring the road up to 104,000 capability. So we got forced into doing that.
That was a Sutton on? No,
In the, up by Danny Odegaard.
that's 104?
we don't allow 104, but we have, anytime you take state money and gravel a road now, you have to upgrade them from 80 to 104. You don't have to sign them at 104, but the road's gotta be there. When was that done? When was that road built up and paved? I mean, this is under a paved road, if you guys aren't familiar with where it's at.
Back in the 60s, I'd say, or something like that was.
So that was before any hydrology studies were
But we replaced the culvert, one of the disasters, and I don't remember which one it was, but it washed out all the culverts up north, and it ran over the top of the road at that time. I worked for the county since 1977, and there's very seldom that I've seen water running over that blacktop. At that time, whatever year that was, there was a bunch of culverts washed out up by Uso's up there, and probably Fred's. I don't know if you were there at that time. And FEMA gave them the money to replace the culvert that got damaged, but it ended up they put the damaged culvert back in too, besides the one that was paid for by FEMA. So of course now there's a lot more capacity up there than it is.
I think Nelson County's doing a stream study and they're gonna increase the flow on us.
Yeah, so if they increase the flow on us, why is it at least the road department's responsibility to pay for that?
That's what I
Well,
told
one
Fred.
thing that
That's what I've told Fred.
Tom
This
says
is
over and
civil
over again,
action.
it's not my water, it's not your water, it's our water. And so when Nelson County sends that water our way, it's our water.
And it's a blue line too, isn't it?
Yeah.
So pretty much anything that gets put in a blue line, you gotta deal with.
Yeah, but a blue line is it's a stream that's been there for how long?
But
it
there's
isn't a
not
blue line
adequate
because they added a bunch of
capacity
extra
on this
acres of
road.
water.
That's the issue. There's not adequate capacity to handle the water on this road.
But each time that you drain something more in there, you know it's not gonna be.
You're gonna get that, you're gonna get back there again. So we just need to sue the people that created the problem.
Do you guys know what century code this is covered under?
Well, Tom and I,
The stream crossing, you mean?
No, there's got to be some legal basis for when this happens and who's responsible financially, and
When
because the premise that the water can get dumped up here and its responsibility downstream doesn't hold.
So when
Water.
you're being logical, but that's not.
No, it isn't. No, that is right. Even to dump something into the Cheyenne River, you can't just do it willy-nilly. There has to be.
But when we were out in Bismarck last winter, I didn't like to hear what we heard because Foster County was gonna do the same thing,
Mhm.
put those 2-3 foots in. And when they do the stream study, it's like the road isn't there. So you take the road out of the equation and then that's what they put in there for flow. Problem is, we have 236s going through County Road 3. They wanna put 236s in the county line, and there's 5 sections in between the two. And that just doesn't work. But they said it's up to you, or, well, it was up to us to fix that, and it's like, it can't happen.
That's, the State Water Commission told us that, because Tom said, how can they do that? That can't be legal. And the State Water Commission said, yes, it is.
Well, there's got to be a whole bunch of legal rulings covering this because it happens all the time. So until someone can put a gun to our head and say this is 100% Griggs County's responsibility. First of all, the water board, if you drew your four mills, it would take years to pay for the price of this project. The county commission, via the funds that they have available for the road department, doesn't have the funds to do this. So that's the problem. It's not a matter of necessity, it's a matter of where does the money come from.
I sent an email to Brian Fuchs from the North Dakota DOT, Bismarck. And I said the questions come up from the water board commissioner that they're wondering if we could use the House Bill 1176 funds to replace any culvert on a federal aid road. Nelson County Water Board wants to drain a large area of land, which I think includes 3 sloughs, and they've been working to get permits from Fish and Wildlife, and I don't know if this is correct, Corps of Engineers, whoever it is, to get this through. After doing a drainage survey, they decided our present culverts are too small. They're now suggesting a 12 by 5 box culvert or 111 foot long, 3 5-foot concrete culverts. The culvert in the road has served its purpose for several years. If you can just tell me about this, is it possible or not? The House Bill 1176 says to meet one of the following criteria and not be considered maintenance. Have a direct impact on traffic safety. Provide connectivity to significant traffic generators and be on a CMC route. Real question is, why need to replace those culverts other than to increase flow capacity? Are the existing culverts failing and the integrity of the road is in jeopardy? If the only reason is to improve flow capacity, then I think the answer is no, based on the intent of the bill. And we have roads that impact a lot of farmers, like down by Hannaford, there is what we're considering re-graveling that again. It was just gravelled about 3 years ago. And there's so much traffic on that, it's just pounding everything to pieces. And there was a head-on collision there of 2 semis last year because it just gets so dusty. So what we're working on is trying to put another layer of gravel on and mix it in with some type of a chemical, either soybean oil or there's a Team Lab makes a compound that you can mix with it, or magnesium chloride, or something that will protect the safety of those people. You know that there's a lot of semis coming out of there, farmers and whatever. So that's kind of what we've got our money, proposed for this time. Like we said, the bridge, the Greg Dolls, that was a 17-ton bridge, and now you can go across it with a semi legally, where they were going across anyway. But so I don't think, according to what they have here, that we can use that money. I have a little less than $20,000 left in my culvert budget. I had a $20,000 budget, and I just spent about $2,500, I think, on some culverts provided. So that's all I have is in my culvert budget is $20,000 a year, and that doesn't buy many culverts, that. And we have so many mills, and that's all we can get, and we've got to spread that across the whole county. So I'm not against improving it. Oh yeah, and another thing is down that County Road 10 that cuts across to Finley. The water, before it gets to the river, crosses that. There's about a little box culvert there. And quite a few springs, it's run over that road. So by increasing the flow from way up there, it's gonna affect that one too. State highways, there's no problem, of course.
May I interject?
Sure.
Okay, at the intersection there, Fred talked about there's a 3-foot culvert which is shot. That's out of the water. It's probably that high above the water right now. I'd say 18 inches above the water. And then there's a 4-foot diagonal culvert that was put in that goes across the intersection. And that, I would say right now, is too high. When that culvert was installed, I'm not an engineer, but my hunch is that should be lower. But the fact that 1 mile north of that there's a 6-foot culvert, 2 miles south of that there's a 6-foot culvert, that 4-foot culvert is a hang-up point. That intersection right there, that road is not in good shape. We had it shaved down at one point this summer to try to level that off across the culvert that heads straight south. And that's a big bump there. And it is a high traffic, necessary route, because if it goes over that road, it's gone over other roads to the north. And that, like Fred said, we're talking, instead of 1 mile to Annetta, we're talking 16, 17 miles to Annetta. Same thing happened to my grandparents, they lived right on the west side of that. So last fall, I'd organized, and Fred mentioned this, Pickerel Creek to be cleaned, because we farm right along Pickerel Creek for 2 miles on both sides of it. And so I wanted to organize this to better allow my land to be farmed. And I'm just being very selfish about this. I want to have better opportunity to farm my land. So I approached Griggs County Water Board, and then I approached Nelson County Water Board, and then I had farmers that owned the land along Pickerel Creek and rented land. And so Griggs County Water Board put in $7,000, Nelson County Water Board put in $7,000, And I organized farmers or landowners to put in $7,000 to get this cleaned out. So Pickerel Creek as of last fall was cleaned out for the first time in, I wanna say, 15, 20 years, probably at least. And when we talk about bringing new water in from the north, I wouldn't say that's new water. I would say that that's water that's been drained through Pickerel Creek, but hasn't been cleaned, but drains haven't been cleaned. And so that's why I know that there's gonna be work going on in Nelson County to do something to help. It's what's called the Four Corner Slough, which is right on Highway 15 at the intersection west of 15 and 32. And then also that slough right north of Veneta is called the Omelet Slough. So those two both drain to the south. And if you turn back to your page, that one that Fred first showed, okay, we can see we're crossing number 1, so that's right west of Fred's place. But if you go all the way up north here, where it says Highway 15, that's the Four Corner Slough. So all that water is going to come through Nelson County. Straight north of Veneta, 4 miles is the Omelet Slough, and that blue line's not on here, but that meets up with this current blue line, and that all comes through Pickerel Creek. Okay, so we've cleaned out Pickerel Creek and it actually cost us about $22,500 last year to clean it out. And the amount of successful drainage that we've done is phenomenal, but that's not having cleaned this Four Corner Slough or the Omelet Slough. And so there's going to be more water coming through there on a consistent basis. So,
Who's doing that?
pardon me? Nelson County.
And the landowners.
It's likely going to be a snag and clear. But what my goal here, and I've talked a little bit about Griggs County Water Board meetings to form a legal drain. Because, and I mentioned it to Fred earlier today, I mean, this is what's in Griggs County of Pickerel Creek. I mean, Pickerel Lake is right there and Pickerel Creek starts right here. But if you look at this, so this is a watershed developed by North Dakota State Water Commission. So if you assess this watershed to maintain this legal drain, I mean, how much, most of that money is going to be coming from Nelson County to keep the drain clean. And I'm not worried about it right now because Pickerel Creek is clean. I'm worried about 7 years from now, 15 years from now, when people aren't staying on top of it like they should.
Okay.
And so that's why this needs to become a legal drain. But within that, I think that, I mean, like Fred said, we met at this township road right west of Fred's place, and Ben Varnson was there, Bob Brooks was there, and that's where we talked about this culvert study. And so we talked a little bit at lunch that, and I know that Nelson County's still waiting to get their report back. I don't think they have theirs back yet. But to have this shown that that particular culvert right west of where I live is a hang up in this thing. And I think that saying that there's 2 culverts there, I don't even think that I would say there's 1 culvert there. There's 1 4-foot culvert that runs to the southwest. The 3-foot that goes south is the bottom of it's all rusted out. That goes south and then has to go west through a smaller culvert to meet up with Pickerel Creek.
So I looked at that, why did they do that? That is the dumbest, the one smaller one going to the west.
That's the way it was.
is
There was
plugged.
no culvert running diagonally to the southwest.
Oh, wow.
It all came south and then all went to the west. That minimum maintenance road actually used to be a highway, Highway 45, or old Highway 45. But that was always cut. That minimum maintenance road was always covered in water until this diagonal culvert got put in there.
I think the question of whether it needs to be done isn't really that it needs to be done, should be done. It's how to fund it is the biggest sticking point in this. We don't need to be convinced that it needs to be done.
So
It's how
within
to
a
gather
legal,
the money.
within a legal drain, would the legal drain pay for the culvert?
Sure.
Box?
It could be part of the project.
But
mean,
you know,
that would-
that's a 4 or 5 year project.
I know.
But I mean, again, Dale, there is no money to do this. It would have to be budgeted somehow. And again, the water board doesn't have a budget big enough to do it. And then it would have to be budgeted into the road department, and then the road department would have to pay that through us on the benefit to the taxpayers. How many taxpayers benefit for this amount of money, and you weigh it back and forth, because we don't have money to do all these projects, so it has to be based on,
But a legal drain would be the fairest way. Like Scott said, most of the water is coming from Nelson County anyway. They'd be assessed for moving the water through there. It would just be a process.
yeah.
So back to you made a comment about having to fix a road and therefore you had to put a bridge in or culvert in or something. What if I told you that this road needs repair, that intersection needs repair?
That doesn't matter.
That
There's-
is,
there's
that is
frosting
the
involved
intersection
in
there,
that.
I don't follow the intersection.
There's an intersection.
Yeah.
This
It
culvert
goes
runs
kitty
diagonally.
corner through
At
the
angle.
intersection.
Yeah,
The culvert does.
oh,
Township road goes north and south,
oh,
and then the county road goes east and west.
So the water, the big 4-foot culvert is going from the northeast to the southwest.
Through the
So-
whole intersection.
Kinda quarter. That's why it's 111 feet
so,
long.
so the
Pickle
way the
Creek is-
process, okay.
Otherwise, you'd need 2
And the
culverts.
3-footer goes south and then has to go onto the township road to get to the
A
creek.
3-footer,
Right. Oh,
I think,
so
was
you're
put in
doing
there
the
just
90
as
with
an
that one,
overflow, when the
right.
water got up so high, the water had run through that extra
Right.
culvert.
You're doing the 90.
It never was.
Little one.
Little
you-
one.
you-
Never was
Am I
wide
right on
enough
this?
there.
So the way the process works for yes, if we could repair.
So north.
The
So the-
road
the
department and the
pavement-
county commission identify projects within the county
3-footer here,
that
and then there's
we deem
one
are
here.
necessary to use as
And then
state
the
and House bill
4-foot
money.
goes this way.
And then the engineer has to go out for the state, on the state's behalf, and determine whether or not
But
those projects
this-
fall.
And this is the natural flow.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, it has
this
to
money
end up
is
here.
administered
So this
through
just
the
takes
county,
away from
kind of,
Mhm.
but
Which
not without
this
the
is
blessing
hard
of the
because this
state. So
overshoots-
they give us the
Sure.
money, they let us actually write the check, but they don't tell us where we can write the check or when.
This
So what
one
kind of
is in
process
really
is
tough
that to
shape.
initiate
This one you
that
can't
with the
even
state?
see. I'd say that's a 2-foot.
Well, you would
I
have,
don't
would
know
have
why
to
you put
identify,
3 to
would have
2,
to
but this
identify the
wasn't here.
project,
This
and then the
could
engineer would
possibly be
determine whether or not that's
Whoever put this in. that was
worthy
a really
of
good idea, but
spending those funds. And that's not a big deal to initiate that. But all the House bill and Senate bill money has been spoken for until they, with this project that we just okayed down in west of Hannaford, until there would be more money allocated by the state, the process couldn't even take place.
I think, you said the road was destroyed, but it's not destroyed.
No, I
It's
didn't
just
say
a
it was,
frost-
I didn't say it was
It's just
destroyed.
a frosty, which happens on state highways, county roads, gravel, whatever. So that's something that just did go away. I know it got pretty rough there.
Yeah. There's a frost heave above that culvert, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a dip, and then there's a heave.
I wonder if the culvert isn't rusting out is the problem. I mean, there's probably a hollow spot.
The little one?
Probably fail in the little one.
The big one's concrete?
No,
No.
That's
but it's
steel
newer.
pipe. Oh,
We replaced the one going crossways. I don't
Okay.
remember what year it was.
That's probably 20 years ago that was.
It was rusted out and started washing alongside of it, so we put a new one in
More than
there.
20 years ago, because the big.
So was there one there
before
prior?
97.
Oh, so I was wrong. There was one there.
Yeah, there was one there prior,
That
but
died.
it rusted out.
oh.
Kevin Bender was running Traco and stuff at that time, and he put it in. We put it back in as close as we could to the same level as what it was when it washed out.
But Scott's right, that 3-foot culvert is toast,
Yeah.
rusted out.
Yep, there was a 3-foot culvert there, and then there was water standing in the intersection because that 18-foot culvert had gotten either covered up or squashed down when the
Oh,
ditch was clean going
in the township.
southwest in the township.
That one you still can't see really. I never found it.
Is it maybe somebody took it out?
No, it shows
It's
it's,
there.
it's there, but it's,
That's all rusted out, I'm sure.
you know.
So what is the financial solution to this other than to get it into a legal drain? Can you put a big box culvert like that in diagonally? I don't know any of that. I don't
Well, that's what Wayne Dahl said.
Why not?
know. You just have to, I think you just have to have a wing arm bigger on the one side to divert the flow Gets when it awful hits it. long.
Or it would require 2 80-footers, because you'd have to cross the road twice. Cause the
Oh, I
Correct.
know.
yeah.
So has the process been started for a
No one's
No.
petitioned us,
no
no.
one's petition?
No, but it will be this winter.
See, and the way I understand those levee drains, not only can the landowners be assessed, but the public entity can be assessed also. As per benefit, not per land owned, but as per benefit. So, again, when they did the drain on Cooperstown, they didn't do it, but they should have. They should have assessed the city of Cooperstown for part of those drainage costs. That wasn't done that way. They just kicked in a set fee.
Well, I think that the entity that is trying to initiate the legal drain has the ability to, when they set, so if you look at the watershed there, you can set your assessment level. And I think typically on a legal drain, your assessment, if you're right along the drain, your assessment's 100%. And then if you get a half mile or a mile away, you get 75% and then 50%. I think it's up to the governing body to determine what that assessment is. And I think that in my conversations with Nelson County, we would say it's 100% for everybody. Because, and this I believe, that does it really benefit the person right along the drain more than the person a mile away from the drain? I don't think so.
No, I understand that. I'm talking about it just strictly does not, it strictly would be comprised of landowners. The public entity could be assessed also, because it would be a benefit to the public entity if that culvert was replaced, as it would also benefit the landowners. So the public entity can be put into it on a percentage basis by benefit, not by land owned. And that's just a negotiation process.
You
with
talking
the
about
entities.
us then?
Us.
Okay.
And Nelson County and actually the townships could be involved in that. Because if it's gonna benefit everybody, then everybody should pay. It's just determining at what rate it benefits everybody.
Fred, you probably mentioned this to me, but is there a term on there of when this needs to be done?
I don't recall.
Okay.
I don't recall.
All the stream crossing.
Yeah.
It's kind of a 40-year deal. That's what Foster County told us. You know, they have 3 years to do this, and I don't know what the penalty would be.
Yeah.
I've looked and looked and looked, and I've never seen a penalty for it. I've
So-
never seen it as mandatory.
So Dan Simonson, you know, really pushed us really hard at some of those meetings out in Randy Overson's shop. And I said, you're gonna have to go ahead and sue us. I mean, if that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. I do a lot of work for Dan. Now Dan is like, what should we do now? Just leave it the way it is.
Yeah.
You know, we can't change County Road 3. I mean, there's a lot of roads that are, and it just keeps on going down and you just keep wiping roads out.
Right. So the way I understand stream crossings are, as you said, as if there's no obstruction there.
The studies are done that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, except a township road has to meet a 10-year storm standard. A county road has to meet a 25-year storm standard.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they have different.
And that's what makes this one even bigger. I mean,
Yeah, the 425. I think the 10-year on this one is 250 or something like that.
Right. But once the drainage is done up north, won't that change the stream study also?
I think this is done to include that.
To include the whole drainage.
Right. That's
Okay.
In Barnes County, they keep telling us they're bringing more water.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Okay, so this is to include the whole drainage.
this is done. Once it's
Okay.
done, it's
All
done.
right. So right now we don't have that flow because not everything's cleaned out up north.
And I think they're gonna replace culverts per their study.
Right.
They're gonna
But-
follow the study.
If the water gets high enough, John, we will have that flow. I mean, it's done in the past. These things weren't cleaned out, covered all those roads.
I understand I understand the whole problem. It's just as with anything, where is it paid for? I mean, we don't have the ability. We don't have a pile of money anymore.
I talked to Jamie yesterday and
Yeah.
asked what's the consequences of not complying with the stream study, and he said the affected landowners can sue you for backing water up on their property by not maintaining the flow down the drain.
This should work better that it's cleaned out, because water will start flowing right away. It isn't like it's got to pile up before it can. So the clean out thing is a big deal.
Right, so don't you think it would be in everybody's best interest if you went forward and tried to make it a legal drain?
I do. I've had negative experience trying to get legal drain started.
You talk about money, John. It's a lot of money to get a legal drain going.
It takes an investment from the people that are gonna benefit.
Well, there's a lot of administrative, that's what Scott talked about cleaning this drain out for $21,000. You go through a legal drain process, and what's the number gonna be, Tom?
Yeah, I don't know.
It'd be $150,000.
Right.
What's nice is a lot of the engineering is kind of done,
Right.
so we kind of know what.
Yeah, the footprint is already defined.
You know,
No, but again, that's the problem. Where's the money gonna get, kick in? Would it be beneficial to take general tax dollars from everybody in Griggs County to do a project that it doesn't affect everybody in Griggs County? I mean, I understand the logic, we do it for schools and things like that, but would it be, if this project was somewhere else in the county, I don't think everybody in the county would feel comfortable about having their tax dollars spent over here with no benefit, and that's kind of what the situation you get into. That's why the legal drain is such a nice way to go, but it's a long drawn out process. And I don't know where we'd levy the money to do it.
Just looking at this, it looks like the biggest cost for this legal drain will be this road intersection, and the biggest benefit will be outside the county.
Yeah, the road department budget is we're maxed out in the levies there. We're 4 mills wouldn't even come close to doing it there. We're capped on everything else by the state. There isn't a pool of funds to access other than the state, other than the Senate and House bill money, but it's not usable the way it sounds. So really the only place to get the money is to do it through another form of taxation via a levy.
Well, you remember Andy Freeman's famous line, he said, if you don't have money, get next to those that do. The state is the way to get this done.
Because our maximum mill levy in the county for roads is 30 mills, and we're at it now.
Right.
So that's only $600,000 a year. If we spent $200,000 on this deal, we'd have to lay off half the workers for a year.
Right.
So
I'm not suggesting that, but I think there's some room for creativity here, because projects like this do get done.
right, and I don't doubt that it needs to be done. But so then the process of a levy drain needs to take place, because then the state will kick in. I think they kicked in 40% on the Karnak drain. 65%. So there is a mechanism to do this. I understand that it's a long, drawn-out process, and that's painful, but I'm afraid that's the only way to get it done, and then to have it operate in perpetuity. That's the nice thing about the legal drain. You have money to do the maintenance down the road, you don't have to go past the hat again, because you put on a levy. And then throw the net as wide as you can to get everybody possibly can be involved in it, including the government entities.
the problem is too, Fred, I think this is one of 100 projects that probably need to be done. I mean, there's stuff all over that's the problem, just what do you?
Well, one thing I just want to mention, as you say that, and Fred and I talked about that, one reason that the Griggs County Water Board gave $7,000 to this project last year, and I don't remember the name of the person in the room, and he said, we haven't done that much work for northeastern Griggs County. And I think that that's relatively true, and so that's why it was like a Christmas present to get a little money from the county to do something like that. And so when you talk about hundreds of projects, there haven't been a lot of projects done up in northeastern Griggs County.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Sometimes it's a squeaky wheel, you know. It's agreed, so you guys have been, you know, very
We
patient.
do a good job
very
doing the work
patient.
ourselves.
Yeah, I know,
So,
I've flown over that stuff for years, I see what's done up there. So the county can offer assistance in getting the legal drain status moving forward, correct? The water board can?
We need to be
We
petitioned,
need to be petitioned by the
like
landowners.
5 landowners.
Yeah.
But the landowners, you know, you can step this process up in a hurry. If the landowners, if you got 10 people that kicked in 25,000, you could get this thing going pretty quick.
So, yeah, what's needed is the engineering study in order to be able to arrive at a cost estimate so you can put that on the ballot. Yeah,
Right.
and that's what's needed up front.
Once you get it passed, the money gets paid back to the individuals, and then they, I mean.
The risk
Brian,
is if it fails.
If it fails, you
you're
still
out-
get what you
you're out-
want, but it
you're out
costs
the
you
money.
money.
Yeah, yeah. That's the risk. Up until the point that it is voted into law, the people that put the money up for the initial preliminary engineering are at risk.
So on TBO, Brian Tudor and Troy and Lynn Haugen, they put in, I believe that was over $100,000 of their own money. They'll get it back once it gets done, and
Well, you got the mill levy in place now, don't you?
yeah.
Yeah. But I guess we don't know what the, it's just a very basic preliminary engineering, just to get a rough cost, so that people have something to vote on.
Right.
And that's the purpose of the water board, is to help facilitate those type things. And then I would hope, if that's done, that you then form a drain board of your own, so that you don't have to have the water board administering the drain. You have a drain board of people that are involved with it. That then the drain board would have, if you put it into effect through a drain board rather than the water board, the drain board then has the levy authority. So it's the people that have control of the drain have the levy authority. That makes it a lot
But
easier.
as I recall, the way those drain boards work is they're water board members.
No, they don't have to be. They can be the people anywhere within the drainage.
They can form a board, but I think
Right.
Frederick's told us that Cooper took theirs over kinda.
Right.
He said that isn't really legal what they did.
No, they have to be the founders of, the initiators of it, founders of it. That doesn't mean the water board can't help get everything set up, and then have a board formed, and then have the board be the initiators of the drain.
A lot of it might be a little easier if you've already got it clean, the core, 404 permits, all that. If you've got it cleaned, you've had to have went through all that process, right?
No,
Mm-mm.
no,
No?
no.
Oh, wow.
Well, I visited with Kurt Tompkins from Fish and Wildlife, and there's no easements.
Right.
on
No,
Mill
I'm
Creek.
talking with the core. Did any dirt go back in the wetland or anything?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, the message I hear is stay tuned.
Yeah, thanks for the update.
Okay.
We don't know what's going on out there.
But I mean, you guys are gonna go forward and then tell us what,
Yeah, we'll keep you
Yeah,
posted.
it'll be up to the landowners if they want to petition us and get started on it.
Well, I mean, depending on what this culvert analysis says, if that says that this has to be done by the governing authority, then that's not the landowners.
Start growing money trees. If there isn't any money, there isn't any money. I mean,
And then the next question is what's the length of time? I mean, I know you say you think 3 years, but
3 to 5. I mean, I think it can be done quicker, but it would have been nice if the permits would have been in place, because that's a big.
I put a call into Sean this morning to ask him some of these questions and I didn't connect, so.
yeah, Jamie's not here either, so.
And another question, in cleaning out like County Roads 11 and 22, have you went out and looked at those, Wayne? Out by Raleigh Rutzoff's?
Not,
No. So
You
11,
did more now? Did you do more? Or-
no, I haven't did anything. No, I'm just, Lynn Haugen asked me this morning if anything had been done out there, and I said, I have, not that I know of. I didn't know if you'd went out and tried to open up the culverts with your backhoe or no.
A long list of things to do.
It's getting longer too.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you, Fred.
Let us
Be
know.
posted.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Wayne.
Any questions? Paul Bjornson and I and the representative from the state DOT went out and checked out did the final inspection on the Dull box culvert out there. Everything looked good, of course, and so they'll be getting the paperwork together, and I was just wondering if it's okay to be on the sponsor in charge if I could sign the final certification.
Do we need action?
I don't think you, I mean, I just want your blessing, I guess. I mean, you made
That's
me
the
the
only way to get
responsive
it.
in charge, so.
What's that?
You made me the responsive in charge at the beginning of the project, and I don't think there's
Sure.
anything. There isn't any paperwork that says the state's attorney or anyone has to sign it.
Okay. Yeah, you go ahead, because we haven't looked at it anyway.
And PLG is working on a survey in Binford to find the property lines, et cetera, for that project. And he did an estimate that would probably cost like $1,500 for it. To get the markers of the
get the pins set in.
9 and 10, yeah, the pin set for 9 or 10. And I think they'd be doing it after Thanksgiving, probably, for that.
So then they give us the legal descriptions too when they're done, so we can get deeds drawn up.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you guys would do that, if we would do the deeds and stuff, so,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
because we need somebody to either find the abstract or buy title insurance from somebody too.
right. Other than that, I don't think I have anything. They are getting the steel in the building,
So,
maybe get it done, they're trying to get it done by Wednesday. See that, you didn't know what Monday would be like. I think the storm will be over by that time.
I think it missed us.
So,
Last time I looked at my phone, it said 10% chance of snow today.
good. And the city asked me today if they could have us sand their streets, because their sander broke down or whatever, so I said we would do that. So I had to call Brian and to run the sander.
I saw it going up down the street.
We also are, Paul has been looking into different ways of trying to keep the dust control on the 26th when we redo that. There's some magnesium chloride, has calcium chloride, soybean oil, which is a pretty good product. Too, and then,
I think they're putting some chloride on the road up by Macville,
are they?
because this person that lives right along County Road must have been squawking because it's dusty, which I don't know how they can do that for one person and not the rest of the county, but anyway, what I was gonna say is, every time it snows, it's a slop hole, and I wouldn't use it. It's-
moisture.
It's ice melt.
Yeah, yeah, it attracts moisture, that's the purpose, I guess, that's what it does, to keep the dust out.
It melts snow too.
Is this-
Yeah, and then it gets greasy.
That's why they said that soybean oil is water soluble. It doesn't wash away. I don't know where you can get it, if there's a soybean plant, crushing place somewhere, or. But,
Scatter some beans on the road and then crush them with the trucks.
well, they're not worth anything, so. But, still working on that. Anyways, you can definitely tell the difference in the building since the insulation went on. That, this week, of course, it wasn't bad temperature, but when it was cold out, you could feel the cold radiating from the tent wall.
And that's not very much insulation.
Well, it's gonna save,
Power 7.5.
save money. Gets all the cracks sealed up and.
My shop is R34. Yeah.
I heard that.
That'll be good.
Definitely pays for itself. Insulation is,
Yeah, the instance like that.
Okay, anything else for Wayne?
so,
Okay, thanks Wayne.
thank you, guys. There might be money coming. I don't know if this, when the legislature gets more money out, 2020.
Right.
It might still have the same stipulations on it as this does. We'll see.
If that's true, that anybody can dump water on you and you have to deal with it, I would like to know who paid for those new box culverts north of Tolna when the state started dumping water in that Tolna coulee and they had to replace them. Did the local township have to do it? I doubt it. I think somebody needs to find out what the facts are on that deal.
Yep. I mean, everybody just take a step back and we'll go through this and figure out how to get it done, if we can get it done at the least cost and with everybody paying an appropriate amount of monies for it.
Right.
Okay.
See, Wayne?
I don't know if they're putting new water in or if they're just shining up the drain so it happens faster.
Yeah. Well, again,
It doesn't matter. It was been adequate for 30 years.
Yeah.
well, the stream study is as if everything is cleaned up there
Oh,
and the
yeah.
whole thing, and it's not. So what are the chances of all that happening and getting to a point where it can't handle that 25-year event?
Right.
Nature has a time, and nature has a way of slowing down water. Cattails and all the rest of the stuff.
David?
Just want to approve this year's soil modifier policies. Every year we have to submit to the state what the county is doing for soil modifiers. This is what was last year's, which was what the year before was as well. So mainly just, I don't know if we have to have that much discussion on it, but just a motion to approve this is what our modifiers are, and then I submit that to the state. To my knowledge, this is what it's been for at least the last
So what are the
5+
percentages?
years.
Up to 50%, okay.
10
Yeah.
to 50.
Yep.
Of any combination.
You don't make any recommendations that we change any modifiers?
It doesn't really come up. That for the most part, I think townships handle it on their own. And
They're satisfied with how it is. and-
yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
had any. I had one person call and I said, "Well, the township chairman terms less in there. And I don't see a reason at this point to change anything. It's the way all our systems set up for code and program software set up to handle these, so.
I mean, have you been, or are you going to give the townships some supervision on how they should get this word out to their taxpayers of how to use these modifiers? That's the biggest problem, is no one exactly understands the whole process. So it's not utilized.
Well, I know our township went through everybody's property and applied them,
Right.
but I don't know that every township has done that.
Right. But each individual landowner also has the ability to
Yeah.
come forward and try to
Right.
state his case for why he should have modifiers.
When we went through, if there was, an absentee landowner, the guys who had property next to it says, well, that's the same as this, and we
Right.
applied them as, equitably as we could.
But I think a lot of the taxpayers would appreciate that.
Yeah. What would be the best way to go about that? That's what makes it
That's a good
tricky.
point.
It's not, I don't know if it's practical to be sending out a letter to every person.
No,
Uh,
maybe a public meeting.
Just a township association meeting in the spring.
Well, there's not very many people left in a lot of these townships.
No.
The supervisor and the board should be talking to their neighbors.
But a lot of taxpayers don't even realize that, because the way this whole thing was put in place, there weren't any modifiers in place. They just said, here's the 100% pure land, and then from there it's supposed to be, the taxpayer is supposed to put the modifiers in place. Taxpayer and the township and the county. But I don't believe that the county or the township can go and put the modifiers in place without direction from the taxpayer. I mean, the way it works, I believe.
When was it 2011 or 2012 that the whole soils and modifiers were done? I've been trying to piece together some.
I think it was 11.
11.
Think
Just
so.
trying to make sense of all the digital files on the computer and when different things were done.
What are your wishes? Do you want to change anything, or?
I'd move that we re-adopt the current modifiers as they are.
Okay.
Maintain the current modifiers.
Keep the
Leave them
modifiers as
unchanged.
is for 2019. Is there a second to the motion? Second. Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thanks, David.
Thank you, David.
Stutzman County Correctional Inmate Boarding Contract. They're going up $5 a night.
Is that the only facility we have a contract with is Tucson County, or do
I think we had one with Barnes until they excommunicated us.
we? Yeah, oh, that's fine.
I
Do
don't
they
think they'll- yeah.
send them to Hillsborough ever?
And occasionally we use Hillsborough, but we don't
If
have a contract with them. But
I think Hillsborough has a facility for women. I think if it's a lady, they go there, right? Am I correct?
Or the other way around?
And I think Cass County just takes them on demand if they have openings.
yeah.
Ever.
I move we enter into a contract for inmate boarding with Stutzman County.
Been moved by Dale to enter into a new contract with Stutzman County for prisoner boarding. Is there a second?
Sorry.
Second.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, we gotta do this, boy, roll call, I think.
Mm.
John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Old courthouse, new courthouse.
I talked to I got in touch with the NDSU people for the architecture
Yep.
stuff. I got in touch with the dean, and he is speaking with some other people. I hadn't heard from them. They wanted the letter. Then I didn't hear from them until 10 minutes before this meeting started, and they would like one of you guys to contact them because they think this is a bigger deal than what they're used to. They think that maybe it might be a legal thing where maybe we should get some lawyers involved. He wasn't sure. He didn't think that it was something that they should come to a commissioner meeting to do. They would like somebody else to contact them. And so I said that I would let you guys know and have one of you guys contact them about what we need to do going forward and how to get this done. He said this is probably a bigger thing than what they're used to, so.
Well, maybe we should put a name on the next meeting and have Jamie present and draft a letter and send it to him.
So you sent him the letter we got from the state?
I did.
Okay.
Not that gentleman. I sent it to another lady that's been in contact. So then he was going to contact her, and so it was. But they wanted one of you guys to be involved in some of this. So
Okay. Put it on the next agenda.
you got it.
Okay.
The handicap parking, we got those signs that I used for election. We still have those out. Social services would like one on their side as well. Would that be something I could order another sign? Okay. And that's all I have.
Anything else? Future business?
I'll move you to adjourn the meeting.
Been moved by Sean that we adjourn. Second to the motion.
Second.
Second by Dale. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 2:10 p.m. on November 16th. Next regular.
Special. You guys have a tax sale.
On the 20th. Special meeting on the 20th at 10:30.
What day is that? Tuesday?
Tuesday.
At when? 10:30?
Regular meeting Friday, December 7th.